Okay, so now we're going to look at how we might convert our applet programs into full Java programs. You might want to do this if you're wanting to produce Java executables, things like that. So let's have a look. Now, we're going to use the dice example that I've used in a previous video, and you can see here that we have a dice class, which we can use as a template to create dice objects, and there's also a roll dice method in there which we can use to roll the dice and get the result. And we have our use dice class here, which creates our dice object and rolls it and displays the result. So we're just going to look quickly at how we might change that to be a full Java program instead of just an applet. I'll pause the video and add in things and then come back to you and explain what I've just done. That'll save you watching me typing for long periods of time. Now, the first change we need to make is to the imported packages. You'll notice there that we no longer are importing the applet package because we're not writing an applet anymore. Instead, we're going to make use of the swing package. So we'll import javax.swing.star, and because we're not writing an applet, we're no longer extending the applet class. We're actually extending a class in Swing called JFrame, which is the Swing version of the applet class in the sense that it produces information on the screen inside a window or a frame. Now, the next thing we need to do is to write our main method, which you can now see there. Now, the main method is static. Static methods don't need an object to run against or from. So the main method is going to need to run before anything has been instantiated. So it needs to be a static method. However, we will need to run some non-static methods through this program. So what we need to do now is to actually instantiate an object from the useDice class, and that allows us to run our non-static methods later in the program. So we start by useDice frame equals new useDice. Frame is the object which has been created of the useDice type. Now we could call it anything, but we're producing a frame, so that's a logical thing to call it. Then we just use a few methods here. Set size is a method we get from the JFrame class, and that sets the size of the screen. I've just made a mistake there, so I'll fix that. Put in 200. We have a create GUI method. Now that's showing an error because that's one we will need to write. And then we have our frame set visible true, which makes the frame visible. Now your main method when you're converting your applets is pretty much going to be the same as this for all of them. So you can virtually copy that out when you're making your conversions. Okay, now scroll down a bit so you can see what's happening. You'll also notice that I had a mistype there in frame.createGUI, so I'll fix that. So just go back and fix that if you're following along. Now we need to write our createGUI method. So we have private void createGUI. Then we run the roll the dice, and then we have a few commands here which just set up the GUI for us. Now once again you can copy those. Basically it's just telling the program to stop when we close the window and setting up a container called window, which is going to have all the bits and pieces in it that we're going to put in our frame. So we just type those out. Then we place the objects inside the window there. In this case we just need a text field, and that text field is actually performing the same function as the drawstring command was in our applet program, and then we add that. So that little section at the end is just like adding any object to a window, be it a button or a text field or whatever. Okay, so let's see how this program runs now that we've changed it to a full Java program. And away we go, and you can see there we have our text field with the result. Let's run it again just for fun, and you can see we've got a different result, so everything's running nicely. Now as I said, the beauty of that is it can now be exported as an executable, so I might just leave that for another video, but that's something that you can do with your full Java programs.